Ted Czech, our very special guest here this morning, as we talk about what they, the media, are saying out there. Ted is the author of Saving the Beast, A Recovering Reporter Reflects on America's Broken Media and How to Fix It. You got to get your hands on a copy of this, by the way. 25 years in the journalism business. We're joined this morning by Ted Czech on why is the media turned anti-Israel. Good morning, Ted. How you doing?
Hey, Gary, I'm doing great. How are you?
Well, I'm doing well. 1 year to the day today since Israel was invaded by Hamas, and of course we hear people now saying, "Oh, we have to have a ceasefire." We have to do all these things to make Israel accountable. I'm thinking Israel didn't start this, and yet at the same time, here in our country, I heard this morning that anti-Israeli kinds of actions are up 600% on college campuses, but we're seeing it specifically in the media right now, and that's what you wanted to talk about this morning.
Right, absolutely. I think the overarching issue is that objectivity in the media, in journalism, has been thrown out the window. And I talk about this in my book, that objectivity is not a dirty word, but it has been replaced by advocacy journalism, where journalists feel that they have to take a side, and they've somehow been given the moral latitude to pick a side and then reflect that in their reporting. It's just very foreign to me, but that apparently is what I've discovered is being taught in journalism. So that's the overarching thing, and so then the Israelis are seen as the colonizers, as the big bad aggressors in this conflict. You got the Gaza Strip and the West Bank, and who do they belong to? That's been a question for the ages. And so even though throughout history the Jews have been bullied, they've been the victims, the Holocaust and other terrorist actions. Even though that has happened in this particular case, they're somehow seen as the aggressors. And then you talked about the ceasefire, the Biden administration calling for the ceasefire. So I think that the media is reflecting what it's seeing. The media is interpreting the call for the ceasefire as, the Israelis are evil. And then you got, like you said, the younger Americans, particularly students, who seem to love to protest. Yeah. And so this is the kind of the chic, cool thing to protest, the Israeli quote unquote aggression.
Well, we all have a right.
It's like a number of factors all mixed together.
No, it's a great point. When we all, we protect the right to peaceably assemble. It's protected in the Constitution and the Bill of Rights.
Absolutely.
But by the same token, I think in a lot of ways it's become a new social gathering, as we've seen so many times. And a lot of these people, if you ask them, why are you here? What's the real issue? And the fact that they don't know. And, I guess I want to come back and ask you a question, Ted. And I'm not sure if I asked you this last week, but I'm going to ask you again anyway. You're a guy that has studied media. You practiced objectivity. You have worked at that over the years as a reporter. You're writing about it here in Saving the Beast. And, when did we switch from objectivity to this kind of advocacy you talk about? Or has it always been there, just maybe it's there in a lot greater volume now? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I can tell you, personally, when I was in J school, we call it, journalism school, in the early to mid '90s, it didn't exist. This activism, advocacy, solidarity journalism. It kind of goes by different names, but it's all the same thing. No, it was objectivity, laying everything out there for your readership or your viewers, and letting them use their critical thinking to decide what it is they believe, and kind of using what you give them as a jumping off point for any further research and investigation that they themselves want to conduct.
Are the reporters who go to that kind of reporting, the subjective kind of reporting, are they just dumber? Have they just lost track of history? They really haven't studied. They really don't have a total panoramic look at what's going on, and then writing within that panoramic look. Does that make any sense at all?
Yeah, I think they want to, they're young, and they want to believe their professors. Professors being seen as very intelligent and disseminating the information to the students. And maybe, like I remember being in college, you're kind of in a bubble. you're kind of removed from, to some degree, removed from the quote unquote real world. And so I didn't start to get interested in things going on in the nation and in the world until I got out of college,
right?
And got a real job, and so I think that's kind of where it stems from.
And reality set in. That's what
Right.
what happens. Because meanwhile after that you're like
Right.
you're like at the country club. It really is. This anti-Israeli bent by the national media, and there seems to be quite a bent
Right.
there. Israel is our biggest ally in the Middle East. There's no question about it. And you hear President Biden say, "Hey, we support them, but we'd like to see them do a ceasefire." And I'm thinking to myself, if someone lobbed 181 missiles into our country, would we be pushing for a ceasefire? I mean, I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. So I'm thinking, as the media writes about this, where did they go from supporting Israel to going against Israel here? And is there an anti-Semitic kind of feeling among the media? I just wondered your thoughts about that.
Yeah, no, that occurred to me that it could be something like that. But I go back to America loves an underdog, and the Jews were the underdogs versus the rest of the Middle East. But in this particular conflict, the Palestinians are seen as the underdogs versus the Jews. That's another thing that I see. Also, Benjamin Netanyahu is a conservative, and many would say that the majority of the mainstream media is left-leaning, so that they are against him.
Right.
So yeah, there's a number of factors.
I was thinking about this a little bit this morning, and maybe a weird parallel. And I was thinking, what Hamas did on that day a year ago. Raping women in public and all the things, killing people and so forth for no apparent reason. I wonder how people would feel if you said, let's have a ceasefire with maybe during, our incursion into Afghanistan or after 9/11. Let's have a ceasefire with Al Qaeda. What do you think? Let's have a ceasefire with the Taliban. Well, I think that would be right. Although some people did talk to the Taliban during that time, but let's have a ceasefire with Al Qaeda. You think that would go well with the American people and with the press? Just an interesting parallel.
No, I don't. Yeah, no, I don't think it would have went over
right.
very well. That's right. I mean, we were attacked on 9/11, and
right.
then so that triggered what occurred in us going over into the Middle East.
Right.
Right, and everybody was for it. I mean, the patriotism in this country was at an all-time high.
But then after a period of time, we weren't. And that's what happens. A period of time, we saw it in Vietnam, we saw it here, and we see it in other places. So it's interesting to watch how we react to all of this. Ted, author of Saving the Beast, a recovery report reflects on America's broken media, how to fix it. Ted, I always ask you, where do you find this book right now? Because people ought to be reading it.
Oh, you can find it everywhere, Gary. No, it's on Amazon, but if for whatever reason you don't go there, go to Barnes & Noble, go to Books A Million. It's everywhere, and I'm talking online. I don't think it's in stores, but online.
Ted, we'll check you out again next Monday morning. Another interesting topic. Thanks so much. Saving the Beast, a recovery report reflects on America's broken media and how to fix it. Ted Czech, CZECH. Make sure you know that name when you find it.
I know.
So it's okay though, but we got it right anyway. Just take a Czechoslovakia and take away the Slovakia, and you got Czech, right? There you go.
There you go.
Ted,
that's it.
Thanks, buddy. Have a great week, okay?
Okay.
Talk to you in a bit.
Gary.
Take care.
Too.
Ted Czech here on WSBA as we evaluate the media with him at 6:35 every Monday morning here on WSBA.